Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Turbo coin. Listen, right? Not too much news, but we do have a post here saying Turbo's back in the feed and louder than ever. From GPT-4 spawn to full-blown AI meme meta, it's the chart CT you won't shut up about. Whale stacking, hype compounding, some tokens pump, right? Turbo Toad token also returns. Dive into Turbo on, this platform now. So, yeah, we can see instant swaps with 1400 plus assets. Uh, yeah, that's what we love to see, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive into the basics. All right, let's dive into the basics and let's see what Turbo's up to. Now, you may have actually just seen Turbo Trump. This has nothing to do with, Turbo, right? Just FYI, because it does look like it's the same little yellow guy. Okay, it does look like the same yellow guy. Um, so yeah, just stay away from this. Anyways, right? We're 260 million market cap, 54 million volume. We are rank 160. And ladies and gentlemen, we are 0.0037. We can see overall, right, on the lower side, we usually are around the 160 rank area. And usually on the higher side, we're around the 140. Not bad, not bad just to be kind of accumulating, right? Because this is kind of the zone we're ranging in. Um, right? So us just kind of bouncing between 140 and 160 doesn't really bother me because I do know we will break into the top 100 when the time comes. We can see something like Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, is, kind of just doing its thing right now. We can see that we have these highs over here. We can see we have more highs over here. And then, of course, we have more and more highs. But, ladies and gentlemen, what do you notice about them? They are, as of right now, consistently lower and lower. Now, here's the thing, right? On the opposite side, we do have this low over here of $101,000. And then, of course, we have this over here of 105,500, right? And we can see that we are making our floors higher, but we're also making our roofs lower. So we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice with Bitcoin. Now, some may argue, right, that boom, we are on top of this range and we're looking to hold and explode, which is what I would ideally want to see, of course, because that means something like Turbo will massively benefit from obviously Bitcoin going up. We can see that although we have smashed through a zone, right? Although we have smashed through a zone, we are looking to be going lower once again. Here's the deal as of right now, right? We are just simply creating higher highs and higher lows, right? We have higher high, well, practically equal highs over here, and then a higher high. We have a floor, we have a double floor, and then we have a higher low. So we are technically staircasing to the upside. What we really want to see with this daily candle is for it to close just where it is, or technically it could go even lower, by 1 or 2%. But then, of course, we want to see the next day to continue to kind of just push up, right? To continue to push up. Now, here's the deal: most of the times, right? Most of the times when we look at something like this, it usually, right, if something's going like this, very similar, it usually has one more sell off, just like the way it did last time, right? We were kind of consistently going up higher and higher until we weren't. But as of right now, there are no reversal signs, right? There are no reversal signs. We can see that, 1, 2, 3 nice blue candles, and then we already have 5 selling candles, right? So there still shows that there's way more pressure, right? There still shows there's way more pressure. And then it's still technically for this last candle, it hasn't gotten eaten all the way yet. So, right, it just shows that buyers are still in control, even if it is very, very slowly, right? Even if it is very, very slowly. And we can see just even on the 4 hour time frame, boom, 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 right? We can see that we are boom staircasing, right? Very, very nice. Overall, on the monthly, right? On the monthly, I do expect for us to have a solid month. The last two candles weren't really that promising in terms of selling pressure, especially June, right? Especially June. We did tap off of the order block, but not only go off of the order block, but we went off of a massive support, right? Off of massive support. So, this zone, generally speaking, this big green box was and is a great time to be taking risks, right? To be buying up turbo. Okay. We can see the 3 month also started, right? The 3 month also started. It would not surprise me, like, for a little pullback the way we have it, to tap into the 3 month order block to then continue pushing up higher. The next zone I really want to claim on the higher time frame is this monthly high of May, right? That is the next big zone. And we can see after that zone, we actually do tap into a very, very big resistance, right? And a big monthly order block. So, we could see some type of price action over the next few weeks where we either sweep liquidity or continue to go higher and then bounce off to then continue to go higher once again. Now, I know people are getting impatient, but it is what it is. We can't do anything. Global liquidity, I actually haven't really looked at global liquidity in a while, right? So if we go look at something like the weekly for global liquidity, last time we did create new highs, right? We actually created new highs for global liquidity, right? We had these highs over here, and yeah, everything was following with global liquidity until it wasn't, right? That's the thing with this. That's very annoying, but it is what it is. That's just how life is sometimes. We can actually see, ladies and gentlemen, right? If we go from here to here, right, we are in the 91 days where we are topping out, potentially, right? We have boom this one over here, 91 days, which is next week. So here's the thing, people, right? Here's the thing. It does suggest a sell-off, but we didn't really pump too hard. So, I'm really hoping, nothing dramatic will happen where we kind of go like this, based on global liquidity. I'm not too scared because, like I said, global liquidity hasn't been our best friend in recent times, anyways. So, you know, I'm not going to use the data as if it was golden the way it was a few weeks ago, right? I'm going to take everything with a grain of salt. But we can see, generally speaking, right, when it comes to global liquidity, that global liquidity is just generally ranging, is just generally consolidating, right? And if that's going to be the case, and let's say we do start following global liquidity and we go 91 days out, we might not get anything too exciting until late September, potentially. So yeah, I mean, hopefully global liquidity does start to take off because I know obviously some money will trickle into crypto despite how things look right now, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Anyways, that is ultimately it. I hope you guys did enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.